and welcome to today's Amicus Attorney edition of Free Training Thursday. I have trainer Darren Juby here with me, and he will be taking us through Abacus Payment Exchange. If you have any questions, please feel free to put them in the sidebar, and we will get to them at the end if we have time. I'll now turn it over to Darren, and he can take us through his presentation.
Thank you very much, Amanda. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this week's Abacus Next Free Training Thursdays webinar. So, as Amanda said, this week we're going to be focusing on Abacus Payment Exchange, also commonly referred to as Apx within Amicus Attorney. My name is Darren Juby. I'm a Senior Training Specialist here at Abacus Next, and my focus is the Amicus Attorney product line. And as always, if anyone does have any questions during our session today, please do utilize the questions field here in GoToMeeting, and time permitting, we will get to answering them towards the end of our session. And if not, please do include your email address, and we'll happily follow up with you afterwards to provide you with the information that you were seeking. And now, without further ado, let's begin discussing Abacus Payment Exchange in Amicus Attorney. So, a brief agenda of what we're going to cover over the next 30 minutes. What is Apx, or Abacus Payment Exchange? How to start using Apx within Amicus Attorney, the onboarding wizard. We're going to talk about managing payments within Amicus Attorney. We'll talk about making a payment within Amicus Attorney. We'll talk about how to view Apx transactions. We'll talk about how to void and refund an Apx transaction. We'll also go over showing client invoices in the Amicus client portal. And we'll also demonstrate paying client invoices in the Amicus client portal. So first things first, what is Apx, or like I said earlier, Abacus Payment Exchange? Well, Abacus Payment Exchange, or Apx, is a payment solution that uses a single, secure platform to process credit card and ACH payments within Amicus Attorney billing so that you get paid quickly. It also makes payments easy for your clients. I can't think of two finer points on which we would want to advertise such a feature, if you will. Those are the two finest points I can possibly think of because they reach all of us. Your Amicus administrator is able to sign up for Apx within Amicus Attorney. Apx pricing is simple. With Apx, there are no, and I stress the fact that there are no hidden fees or long-term contracts, no monthly fees, and no per transaction fee, and no cancellation fee. It's a lot of no's, but they're all positive no's. Only a 3% flat fee is charged for credit card transactions and 0% for ACH and/or e-check transactions. Apx is PCI compliant. PCI stands for the Payment Card Industry, and the PCI Data Security Standard is an information security standard for organizations that handle credit cards and is mandated by the credit card's brand and administered by the Payment Card Industry Security Standards Council. Apx accepts most payment options, including MasterCard, Visa, American Express, Discover, and ACH, which would be like your debits and your debit cards and things like that. This allows you to collect payments to your operating and trust accounts. Fees are deducted from the firm's operating account. So, for example, if a client was to make a $100 trust payment from their credit card using Apx, the client pays you the $100. That $100 is then deposited into the trust account, and then the 3% would be deducted from your operating account. So as you can see, the client's payment is never affected. To start using Apx, a firm must first complete the onboarding process and have been approved by our partners at Vantage. Only after successfully completing the underwriting can a firm start to handle credit card and ACH payments. Now, to begin this process, your Amicus administrator can sign up from within Amicus Attorney by going to Firm Settings and under the Billing section selecting Abacus Payment Exchange, or Apx. This will display the Billing, Abacus Payment Exchange dialog, and from there, the onboarding can begin. Now, something important to note here before we start going into demonstration mode here, folks. Abacus Payment Exchange is only available at this time to firms that are located within the United States, and it works only with bank accounts that are based within the United States. Whether that or when that is going to change, I do not have that information or that answer, unfortunately, at this time, but I would suggest that sooner rather than later we will see some changes or enhancements made to the availability of where APX can be taken advantage of. Now, you guys will see on my screen that I've got a bit of a presentation prepared for you guys, because to do this in a webinar would be very difficult to go through the whole process of onboarding, managing payments, making sure that APX was set up, and then setting up payments and so forth so we could demonstrate it all. So what I've done instead is ahead of time I've prepared some presentations for us to go through here. So the first of which we're going to do is how to start using APX with Amicus Attorney. So the onboarding wizard. So I'm going to click on this to start us up here. So to begin the APX onboarding process, we would need to log into Amicus Attorney as an administrator, and we would need to complete the following steps. So the first thing we would need to do is from the Office module, here, under Administration, we would click on Firm Settings. As you can see, I've got a click here arrow pointing to that. So once I've clicked on Firm Settings, we've got the Firm Settings opening up over here. And so as I mentioned earlier, under the Billing heading, if we look down, we will see Abacus Payment Exchange APX in brackets right there. So we're going to click on that to display the Billing Abacus Payment Exchange dialog, as we now see here. So if I'm an administrator and I want to set this up for my firm, this is the initial stages. So now the next step that I need to perform is to click where it says Learn More and Enroll. So I'm going to do that. And as you can see, up comes this particular dialog. This is the Get Started dialog for our onboarding process. So as you can see here, we've got information. I could click on Learn More, and I could go through all the information, or I could click on Get Started, or I could go through all that information first and then click on Get Started. So I'm going to skip over the information side of things here because we want to see how this all works out. So I'm going to click on Get Started. So most of the fields in this onboarding wizard will be populated with information that is retrieved from your Amicus Attorney database. Click in the fields that you need to edit or enter any new information. So as you can see here, we've got the basic details already taken care of. And if I was to click Next, it'll take me to the personal info, or I could do anything I needed to do with those particular fields. I would then again click Next. And now I'm at the account details. So this is where I put in my banking information, as you can see here. And do I want to accept credit cards? Yes or no? And am I going to be currently accepting ACH payments? Yes or no? So if I click yes on that, then as you can see, I can input my monthly card volume and average card transaction there, and the same holds true here. So now I'm at the verification screen. So I've filled in all the previous screens, and now we get to here. So this is the business owner / officer information dialog. So from here, we would need to use the scroll bars here on the right to make sure that we go through and confirm that all of this data is indeed correct. So I'm going to do this right now. I'm going through here. We've got our home city, home state, home zip, birth date, and so forth. And so now I've gotten to the bottom of this dialog. I've confirmed that all of the information looks good. So at this point, I'm going to want to click on the Continue button. So again, here I've got some questions that I'd want to go through and answer. And then from there, I would click Continue again. And then again, here I am on the last screen. So I'm going to scroll through here. There's our terms and conditions. So I can download and print those using that link right there. And once I've reviewed these and gone through, I've got the option to click on either I agree or I do not agree. Now, obviously, if I click I do not agree, then our onboarding process will not be completed. So I'm going to click on the I agree button. And so now you'll see that I get this screen thanking me. My verification is in progress. We've confirmed the identity and agreed to terms. So as you can see here now, my application is being processed, and it may take up to 2 business days to complete. I can check that status at any time within the application after closing this window. So I'm going to click on Close down here in the bottom right-hand corner. And so as you can see here in the Firm Settings Billing Abacus Payment Exchange dialog, it does give us a status update on where things are as far as our application goes. You can see it is now currently being processed. So what I will do is I will click OK to complete the onboarding process and return to our firm settings. Now, you will receive an email notification of approval. This may take up to 2 business days as it's stated. So as you can see here, when I click here, there's the email that we would receive once approved. So I'm just going to click close on this email now. I just wanted you guys to see what you would receive once you've been approved. And so now if I was to go to Abacus Payment Exchange, again, you'll see that now my account is active and it's able to accept the following: American Express, Visa, MasterCard, Discovery, and ACH or eChecks. And here's the information on my accounts. There's my operating account. There's my trust account. And I do get these drop-down menus here, from which if I had multiple accounts, then I could select different accounts from here. So again, I'm just going to click OK to close that. So that, in a nutshell, ladies and gentlemen, is the onboarding process for Apx. So now the next thing I want to talk about is how to manage payment methods within Amicus Attorney. So to manage payment methods in Amicus Attorney, you would need to do the following. So we'll navigate to the People module. So as you can see over here on the navigation panel on the left, I'm going to click on People. And now I've got my People index in front of me. So we want to select and open a contact from the People index. I'm going to select Janet Bailey there. So I've opened up Janet's People Details dialog here. And what I will want to do now is go to the Actions menu. And I'm going to select Manage Apx Payment Method. So as you can see here now, we've got Janet Bailey's Apx Payment Methods there, and right now she's got an American Express card in there. It's not giving us all of the information, just the last few digits of the account name, and the expiry date, and we do have a checkbox to indicate to Amicus Attorney that that is indeed the default payment method for Ms. Janet Bailey. So I could click OK on this dialog if I wanted to just return to the People Details dialog, or I can click Add if I wish to add another Apx payment method. So let's click Add here and see what happens. Well, as you can see here, I've got up on my screen now an Apx payment method dialog. You'll see at the top, I've got selections for either credit card or eCheck ACH. And you will also see there that based upon my selection, I've got different options available to me as far as the fields below. So what I can do here is I can input both of these. So let's do this. I'm going to input this new credit card. So let's say Submit. And so now we can see the Visa that I just added. Let's do another one. This time we'll do the eCheck or ACH, and we'll submit. And so now you can see I've got a savings account there. So you can see that is just how easy it was to add an additional card or payment method, if you will, to the Apx payment method for this particular contact. And as I mentioned before, some of the fields were already populated with information that was retrieved from the contact itself. So let me just bring that up again, and there you'll see that it is pulling in some of that information from the Amicus contact record. So I'm just going to click OK now to close that particular window. And so now we're just back out here at the People Details dialog. Now, if we wanted to add any additional Apx payment methods, we would simply click on the Add button to do so, much like I demonstrated for you guys. Otherwise, much like I just did here, we would click OK to close that Apx payment method dialog and return to the People Details dialog. And so that is just how easy it is to manage Apx payment methods within Amicus Attorney. So the next thing I would like to show you guys is making a payment within Amicus Attorney. So let me go over to here. So to make a payment in Amicus Attorney, we must have access to the billing side of Amicus. And we would then need to complete the following steps. So the first thing I'm going to do is click on the billing module here. So you'll see I've now got the billing module of Amicus Attorney open. And I just did that from the upper left portion of the navigation panel itself. Now I would like to navigate to the Files module. So I'm going to click on Files over here on the navigation panel. And so here we are in our Files index now. So I want to click on the Transactions button here. And we'll select the option to receive a payment. And of course, up comes our Receive Payment dialog. So nothing different here than what we would normally do in Amicus Attorney Billing if we were inputting a customer's payment so far. So from now, we would want to select a payment method from the drop-down menu. As you can see right here, we've got our payment method right here. And I want you guys to note the additional options that are now available. So I've clicked on this drop-down, and you guys, those of you that are familiar with Amicus Attorney Billing will remember check, cash, credit card, electronic, and other. But now you'll also notice that we've got these additional two options, credit card payment, APX in brackets, or ACH payment with credit card in brackets, or sorry, with APX in brackets. So I'm going to select credit card payment APX. And then from here, you'll see that I've got the options of selecting either one of the credit cards that we've got stored in there for the Apx payment methods for Janet Bailey. So we'll select that one. And then from there, I would want to put in an amount. So in this case, I put in an $800 payment. We're going to pay the full amount of the bill. So we've completed all of our fields here. I didn't need to put a reference number in there. I could have, but I didn't need to. So now I can click on the Pay Now button to display the following prompt. A charge for $800 will now be run on the Amex card ending in 1004 belonging to Janet Bailey. Do you want to proceed? In this case, I would like to, so I'm going to click Yes. So now I get this next screen. A payment process prompt has been displayed, as we see here. Successful credit card transaction for $800, and there's the confirmation number as well. Or a transaction number. Depends on how you want to refer to it. I could click on the copy button here if I wanted to copy the content of this dialog to the clipboard and then use it somewhere else, maybe perhaps paste it in Word or paste it in a note on the customer's file. Wherever I want to put that for record keeping, I could do that by simply clicking that copy button. But in this case, I'm just going to click OK to close that window. So now if the credit card process was unsuccessful, a prompt would have been displayed notifying us of the reason. And if the problem continues, then you would need to contact technical support with assistance or for assistance, and you'd want to have that transaction ID that we saw on that payment process dialog. So another good reason perhaps to copy that information and paste it somewhere just until you know the payment has completely gone through. And of course, something to note, an expired credit card cannot be processed. So if print client receipts for bank accounts is set, a print receipt prompt would have been displayed for us. We could click OK then to print that receipt. Or we can click Cancel to just return out here to the Files index. So as far as now viewing Apx transactions. So after you've processed your Apx transactions, you can review the receipts from the following areas. We could go to the file details for both the receive payment and the trust receipt dialogues. We could go to the billing module for receive payments. There's an expanded transaction view of the bill there. We could do the trust module and look at trust receipts in there. Apx transactions can also be identified on printed receipts, bills, and reports as descriptions of Apx payments will be prefixed with an Apx in parentheses or in brackets. When a transaction does not have a description with it, the transaction type is prefixed with Apx. Any payments are handled in the same manner for both types of Apx payments, that being credit card or ACH. Now, to access the Receive Payment dialog, you would need to select one of the following options in the left sidebar on a file details dialog that you might have open. So let me see if I can do that quickly here. Let me go over to here. Let's go to here. No, not in this particular display. Let me just minimize this. I would like to show you guys that very, very quickly, just where to find that information. I won't have anything per se to show here, but I just want to, again, show where that information would be found. So if we open up a file, I'm about to do so right here. So I'll open up the Bailey Rekipling file here. And note we are on the billing side of Amicus Attorney here, of course. Okay, so from here, I've got the file open. So you see, here's my all transactions. So this would give me a list of all transactions. And again, we will remember from the previous statements we made that there would be a prefix of APX on any of the APX related payments that are made there. We could go to general retainers and we would see any transactions that might have taken place in regards to the general retainer for that file. And as well, we could go to the bills itself, and we would see any information that we would have there. Now, if we wanted to view any trust receipts, then from there, of course, we could simply go to the trust section on the file here, and that information will be displayed here accordingly for us. And of course, a description is always displayed. And now if we wanted to look at any printed receipt, in regards to printed receipts and bills, so we would select the print button in the footer here, as you can see, of the trust receipt or the receive payment dialogues respectively, to view a printed copy of the receipts or the bills. So again, let me just close this and I'll go back to our presentation here. So just to show you here again, if we were going through and we were doing our payment, so let's go to the files. We'll do our transaction there. We'll select receive payment. So once we've gone through here, we put in our money and so forth. We do our pay now. We'll say yes. We'll say okay. I should have had a screen with a print option on that. I apologize for not being able to display that, ladies and gentlemen, but there would be a print option there for you guys as well in the footer. And of course, we do have the option of using reports as well. If you were to generate an Apx credit card ACH report, you can navigate to the Office module. So again, let me do this from here. So we'll go to the Office module and select Firm Settings. And under the Billing section, we would then go to, of course, I don't have the Apx option in here because this is a tutorial office that I am using, but we would have that Apx option that I showed you guys in that demo. And then from there, we would click on the Apx Report button to display the Apx Credit Card and ACH Report dialog. From there, we can complete the following fields by entering information or selecting from the drop-down menus. So we've got one for a from and a to date. We've got a report format, which would be, a Word file, rich text format, could be an Excel spreadsheet, or it could be a PDF. And of course, we've got the Apx report sorting options as well. You would then click OK to generate that report, and an Apx transaction descriptions, like I said, would be prefixed with Apx in parentheses in the cash receipts, the trust bank journal, and the Apx credit card or ACH reports. So in those three particular reports, again, cash receipts, the trust bank journal, and the Apx credit card and ACH reports, any Apx transactions will have that Apx in parentheses prefixed on it. So the last thing I want to show you guys, because I'm looking at the time that we've got left here, so let me quickly go back out here, and we'll talk about showing the client invoices in the Amicus client portal. This is a great feature. To make bills available in the Amicus client portal so that your clients can view and pay them, we would need to complete the following steps. So let's go in here And we'll go to the Files module, and we'll select the file. So we're on the billing side. We've navigated to the Files module. Let's open up a file by double-clicking on it. So we'll select the North American Truck file here. So there's my file open, North American Trucking. And in the lower left here, we've got this portal icon. So I'm going to click on that. And of course, up comes the client portal dialog for this particular file. And the contacts that are classified as clients on this file will be listed here as well. So as you can see, there's our client right there. So I'm going to click on that particular client, and I'm going to check this option to allow this contact to access it. We'll say OK. So those of you that are familiar with already utilizing the client portal, what we're really doing here is giving this client access to the client portal for this particular file. So we would click on the Send Invitation, and we would click OK. So we've done all of that, and we're now returned out to here. So I've closed the client portal dialog. We're now back out on the file. So on the left, I'm going to click on Bills, as you can see here. And now what I want to do is select one or more bills. So I'm going to select all the bills there. I could do that using either my Control key and selecting each one, or holding the Shift key, clicking on the first one, keep holding that Shift key and click on the last one. And so now what I want to do is click on the portal button up here in the upper right. And so I have done so, and now you'll see I get this dialog here for portal sharing. And I want to make those three bills that we've selected there visible to the clients on the file who have portal access. So I'm now going to click OK. And just like that, we've now made these bills viewable in the client portal for this particular client. So I'm going to save and close on that file, and let's see how the client will view it. So we're going to now talk about paying client invoices in the Amicus client portal. So there's the email that our client would have received in the process that we just went through in the last screens. They would click there on that link, and it would take them to this website. You'll see that it is amicusanywhere.com. That's because the portal is accessed through the same portal as Amicus Anywhere, just a bit different for the clients versus us on the attorney side of things. So I'm going to click Next here. And at this point, I would confirm my email address is correct. I would input my new password, confirm my new password. As long as it's showing up as strong, then I'm OK. So I can check off this I'm good box here, and then I would click Next. And once that's been done, I will get this screen here. Congratulations, my client portal account has been created, and we've just sent you a confirmation email for your records. So if I click on the login button now, as the client, I'm now taken to the client portal. And as you can see here, it's telling me I do have one active file. There's no new documents since I last logged in. There's no new notes since I last logged in. However, I do have 3 bills. So if I click on that, you'll see that there's the bills. I could have also clicked on billing up here across the top. So just a little bit more of a preamble here. So once we've invited that client to access the client portal, they receive that email like what we just did. We went through the process of setting up their client portal access. And so we've gone through all of that, and now we're logged into the client portal, and we've been able to see the bill itself, the bills themselves here now. So if I click on one of these bills, so we'll say I've selected that one right there, you'll see that I do have some options available for me here. So for instance, if I was to click on Open File, it's going to open up the actual file that those bills are associated, that bill that I've selected is associated to. If I click on View Bill, you'll see that I get a preview of the actual bill. If I click on View History, well, there's the invoice history. You'll see there's the bill and any payments that have been made on that particular bill. I want you guys to take note of that because we're going to return to this screen in just a few moments. We can click on View Payments, and we can see any payments that have been made on that particular bill. And I could click on the Pay Now option here as well. So let's do that and see what it's like for the client to be making a payment through the Amicus client portal. So the amount due is $125. Invoice number is there. There's our date on our payment. There's the file it's associated to. As you can see here, I could make it a partial payment. I'm just going to make it a $1 payment for the time being. Let's click Submit. And so there, as you can see, there's the credit card payment processed dialog. There's the date it was done on. There's a memo, payment on account, to the credit card, and the confirmation number. So I could either click print or close here. If I click print, as you can see, I get that option there. And so now what I want to show you guys is if we go and view payments again, well, there's that dollar payment that we just made. So the client can keep track of things in real time, as you can see. And I want you guys to note as well, there's APX in parentheses as the prefix on that payment. So much like what we discussed earlier, that's how you would see this stuff, both you on the attorney side, and as you can see, even your clients in the client portal, they're going to see which payments were done with APX and which ones were done normally. So I could click close on that, and as my client, as being the client here, well, I've made a payment on my bill. I've really finished what I needed to do here, so I could just simply click log out on the client portal here now, and I'd be taken out, and that'd be that. So as you can see, we've made it very easy and convenient for our clients to be able to view bills and make payments within the Amicus client portal. And the process becomes even smoother utilizing APX. So I'm just looking at the time here, ladies and gentlemen. So that definitely is the conclusion of our presentation today. I'm sorry that I had to skip over a couple of items to make sure that we fit everything that I thought was the most important in here for you guys. But that is an overview of Abacus Payment Exchange in Amicus Attorney. If anybody does have any questions about what we've discussed and demonstrated today, please do feel free to submit them now via the question feature here in GoToMeeting. Okay, I don't see any questions coming through here, and like I said, folks, we kind of went a little bit over time here. This is one of those webinars where it was really hard to cram everything into a 30-minute presentation for you guys, so I do apologize if we've skipped over anything or if we went a little too quickly in some cases. We do have one question from Elizabeth here. How much of the file is the client able to see? Well, that's up to you guys. If you're familiar with the client portal and so forth, you can dictate what can be viewed. So I mean, the file details themselves can be, but if there's any documents that are associated to those files, then you can share some of them or all of them out to the client portal. The same would be true of notes. So any notes on the file, things along those lines. Is there an email notification when a payment is made? I'm not sure if that's in place yet or not. I know that's something that's coming down the pipeline, but I'd have to look into that further for you, Elizabeth. What I would suggest doing is take a look at the latest update information on our website about APX, and it would tell you in there whether or not for sure on that front. And is the payment only made into a trust account? It's made into the accounts as you specify them. So if it's a trust payment, then the payment would go into the trust. If it was, a regular payment, then it would go into your operating account essentially. So it all depends on what type of payment it is, I guess would be the best way to put it. Again, if it's a trust payment, it's going to go into the trust account. If it's a regular payment, if it's just a bill payment, then it's going to go into your operating account. All right, I do apologize, ladies and gentlemen, but we are definitely out of time at this point. Last question from Elizabeth. What happens if the credit card doesn't go through or if a check bounces? Well, a check bouncing, I'm not sure what to suggest to you on that one, but if the credit card transaction doesn't go through, then the payment simply doesn't process. It would be along the lines of an expired credit card, for instance. I used that as an example earlier. If the credit card's expired, the payment simply will not be processed, and there would be an alert telling you that it couldn't process the payment. So it does look like we have reached the end of our session today, everyone. I do thank you all for taking the time out of your busy days to join us for this session. Elizabeth, thank you as well. I hope I was able to answer your questions as best I could. And again, I do invite you to take a look at the Apx information on our website, and that would give you a little bit further detail on that front as well. Again, thank you everyone for attending today, and I do look forward to seeing you here next week, same time, same place, for our next Abacus Next Free Training Thursdays presentation, in which we're going to be discussing the basics of the Outlook and Exchange links in Amicus Attorney, that being both email and calendar and contact synchronization. Again, thank you all for attending this afternoon. Have yourselves a wonderful rest of your day and week, and an even better weekend to come.